Recently, American Ninja Warrior Nation put up a post asking its readers what changes they would like for American Ninja Warrior Season 11. Well, I'm glad you asked. Because, hello everyone, my name is William from 222 Productions, and I just so happen to have a list of the changes that I would like to see in American Ninja Warrior for Season 11, but for the sake of brevity, I will limit it to just my top 5 changes that I would personally make. Let's get started, shall we? First off, and I think this is a big one, I would ask if A&W was less spoilerific with their marketing. There have been times, these past few seasons, where the marketing for the next episode of American Ninja Warrior has outright spoiled some of the big moments that were going to happen in each episode. And this past season was no exception. One of the things that they did during the regional finals, and even during Vegas also, was they would post full runs from each episode. And the problem is, some of these clips were just so spoilerific, and sometimes just in the presence of social media, just seeing other people talk about the clips, you kind of got an idea of what's going to happen and stuff. I think one of the bigger examples was when previewing the Miami Finals episode, they showed Drew Dreshel's run in its entirety ahead of time on YouTube. And keep in mind, the actual episode, Drew was the second to last run that they edited in, which means that the commentary talking about who had the fastest time, of who finished and stuff like that, that was all still in there, and it really kind of spoiled what could happen in the episode if you were to watch it. Also, I just want to point out that Jamie Ron's shoeless run for Stage 1 in Vegas was shown ahead of time, and I just think that was a mistake. That kind of ruined the moment for some people, having watched it ahead of time instead of actually watching the episode and be more of a surprise. I remember for season 9, they were really spoilery with Jesse Graff, especially with the regional finals course, where in the episode they were like, oh, will she be able to get past Rolling Thunder? But like, if you watch the Next Time on American Ninja Warrior segment that was during the credits of the previous week episode, they showed her on the giant cubes, which was way after Rolling Thunder. So, kind of ruined the surprise and the suspense. So it's like, is she going to make it past the Rolling Thunder? Well, yes. And obviously, speaking of Jesse Graff, there was that whole clearing stage 2 thing in USA versus the World that was so badly spoiled that I didn't even, it's not like I watched the clip, but just going on my Facebook feed and seeing someone share the preview clip with the caption, Jesse Graff makes history, or spoilers, Jesse Graff makes history, I knew what was going to happen in that clip. So it really takes away the moment, and I think there is a way to edit the show better without being super spoilery. And so, in terms of their marketing, and I think that I would like it if the producers were a little more conscious of that. Another thing that I would like changed is I think it would be great if they put bonus runs that didn't make it onto the main episode on YouTube. So on the American Ninja Warrior YouTube channel, you have a lot of runs that are clips from the show, that the episode that you already watched. I think it would be really great if we could see some of the runs from people who either got fast forward or just cut completely and put it on YouTube, the more interesting ones. Even if they were just raw and unedited, without the commentary from Eisman and Akbar, I think it would be really nice. Because, I went to the taping last year for Philadelphia, and there were, for those of you unaware, there's approximately 100 people that run in each regional. Seeing every run in qualifiers and finals is really cool, and for me adds a lot of value that unfortunately gets cut from the show partially just because of the editing, because they just can't fit everything. And with so many people getting, unfortunately Vegas, so many runs got cut completely, including some people who got featured in the regional episodes. I think it would be cool if we got to see more of those runs on YouTube, or even honestly, I think some people would be willing to pay for bonus content on NBC.com or something like that, or Hulu. I don't know, something up to that degree. I think it'd be really neat if there was a way to see more runs. The next change that I would like to see is that I think it'd be really great if we had more time and episodes dedicated to the actual Vegas section of the season. Basically, I wanted more time dedicated to the Midoriyama course itself. I mentioned this before, but American Ninja Warrior has this whole weird thing about how it's 12 weeks of build-up in the form of the regionals that lead up to 3 weeks of payoff, being the finals. And I think it would be great if we got to see more of those runs, because that's Ninja Warrior at its core, is the Midoriyama courses, and I would love to see more of that, because I just remember when I was doing my reviews last year of Vegas for Season 10, I just recounted how many runs from Stage 1 got completely cut without being mentioned at all, and I just think that maybe if Stage 1 got a little more time, or maybe even Stage 2, just because Stage 2 is just so long that it felt like so few runs were actually shown during the season finale. I think it'd be great if we got to see more episodes dedicated to Vegas itself, because that's the main event, so to speak. That is the big deal. That is why everyone is competing on the show. That is the lead up. That is what is, in theory, that is what's very important to the show itself. I just think that it'd be cool if we got to see more of what happened in Vegas. But that's just me. I'm a guy who generally wants to see more runs, and I think it would be nice if there was some way, maybe if they just got an extra week, or maybe if the season finale was 3 hours instead of just 2. Anything like that would be nice.
Are you listening?
Speaking of Vegas, the next change that I would like to see is, honestly, just ease up on the difficulty for Stage 2. I think they have it way too hard for Stage 2. I know they've said in the past on A&W Nation that the goal for each stage and each course is about a 25% clear rate, and 2 clears out of 30 people, that's not 25%. I think it would be beneficial if they just eased up on the difficulty of Stage 2 just a little bit. The version of Stage 2 that we saw in USA vs. the World last month was actually way more manageable than what we actually saw in the Vegas finals. You had the rest bar in between the Salmon Ladder and Deja Vu, and you only had 3 Wingnuts instead of 4 for Wingnut Alley. You have so many obstacles in Stage 2 that require these precision laches. You're essentially asking people to do these big, pumpy catches that are very, small room for error. And I think it would be great if you just eased up on Stage 2 a bit. And I think it's important to mention that Midoriyama is not a 3-stage course, it's a 4-stage course. We shouldn't be seeing just 2 or 3 people in Stage 3. We can afford to see 5, 6, 7, heck, even 10. I would have no problem if we saw 10 people in Stage 3, maybe 1 or 2 in the final stage. I think there needs to be a progression, and if Stage 1 is here in difficulty, Stage 2 is up here, but Stage 3 is only here. It's not a very good progression, in my opinion. So I say let's even out Stage 2 so that the difficulty curve is a bit more even. That's just my opinion, and I feel like I would enjoy stage 2 more if it was a little easier or less, I guess, lachey, less lacheys into big catches. For my last change, and this one might be a bit controversial or polarizing or something like that, would be I would like to see a time limit added to the regional courses. One of the things that I commented last year was that I feel like stage 1 episodes for Vegas were my favorite episodes of the entire season. With the main reason being is that the course was the fastest of the entire season. And with the regionals, they've gotten, longer, they've gotten harder, they've gotten slower. I feel like if you added a time limit, it would release the need to make these big, exhausting, difficult obstacles for the regionals, because now you have the added obstacle of a time limit that people have to keep in mind in order to actually finish the course. And with adding the time limit, it would add many different changes to the course design as well as people's mentality. For starters, with a time limit, you can get rid of the 3 tries and you're out rule for the warped wall. You can have balance obstacles that aren't just, run really fast and hope you don't slip. With the time limit, you don't have to have so many big upper body obstacles that are meant to drain you, because now people need to manage their time better. And I think it would be beneficial to the show and the competitors, because with the time limit, you could train the competitors better to what to expect for Vegas, because there have been times where I'm watching the Vegas episodes of stage 1 and I feel like some of the competitors aren't fully understanding the fact that there's a time limit for stage 1, unlike in the regionals where there is, technically no actually upper time limit. It's just about if you can do better than the competitors, But in terms of whether you clear or not, there's no time limit. If you clear, you move on regardless. And so I think having a time limit would benefit the show. And honestly, you can still do the furthest and fastest rule. That's no problem. But in terms of making the regional courses faster, a bit more interesting, and, maybe a little harder in a different way, I feel like you would produce a better show and better competitors. But that's just me. And honestly, at the end of the day, I don't expect AEW to really institute any of these changes. Realistically, for season 11, things are probably going to be around the same what we had for the past few years. It's not like they're going to institute some sort of new controversial polarizing rule that's going to have people talking and questioning whether or not it was a good idea. They would never do something like that, right? Right?
Hey everyone, what changes would you make to AEW this year? Let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure you subscribe for more of my coverage of American Ninja Warrior. See you next time!